today, first of all, I got to grab some gas because this thing is out of gas. So that's the first thing we're going to do. But I wanted to talk about the topic of our trading conversation today is embracing slow periods in the market, slow periods in your trading. Right now, the market has pretty much expanded to the upside to all-time highs. We have not received a quality pullback, and depending on your trading strategy, and you have to always embrace what you're good at, what you're not good at. I'm a trader that likes to long, but I like to long after quality pullbacks and after markets have cooled off and coming back to the retest level, right? The break and retest requires the retest. So when you look at the market as a whole, we're on the break point, right? Right now the market is breaking, but it has not retest. There has been no retest on the market as of yet. But I know that retest is coming, right? So for me, I find it very difficult right now to be long with confidence in size, knowing that there is a potential retest on its way. So due to that, I have had some slow trading. I haven't had much opportunity. I haven't made that much money towards the pretty much back half of October. But I want to talk about with you guys that this is a time to embrace. This is a time that I'm working on my discipline. I'm working on my patience. I'm creating no trade zones, which we'll talk about later in today's video, creating that no trade zone. This patience and discipline that I'm trying to work on right now will absolutely benefit me in the long term, right? So yes, it sucks right now. Yes, it feels like I'm missing out on these straight up moves on a daily basis, but I know that this is not the strategy. This is not what I'm typically trading, and I just need to be patient and embrace it, because I've seen a lot of you guys out there as well that have shown some struggle and frustration with current market conditions, pretty much chopping sideways, but also gapping up overnight and not really providing that intraday liquidity and opportunity. Don't force it, man. That's the worst thing you could do, is force it when you're not comfortable. I am open to accepting that I am not comfortable right now. That is something I am 100% open to accepting and saying it's clear in my performance and my ability to trust something intraday that I'm not fully there and connected to the market conditions. So why would I force a trade? That's the worst thing you can do now. It is better to save your money than to be losing your money. In trading, it's about keeping what you can keep, not what you can make. And the worst thing you could do, which is very clear, is lose all of your capital or lose all of your mental capital and your actual capital in sideways markets. And then once the market starts moving again, maybe a big pullback or another big move to the upside, you're out of buying power or you're just burnt out, right? So save your mental capital, save your physical capital, your actual money, and wait for the market to provide some real intraday opportunity. And you will know when that happens. Trust me, there will be a day on the market that you will say, okay, this looks a lot better, and we are definitely seeing more action going on. You wait for that day, you capital preservation. That day comes around, you'll be ready to strike better than if you were burnt out trading this chop and getting all worked up. The NTZ has been a lifesaver this week. We'll talk about it later in today's video. Inside of that zone that we've established, we just haven't traded, and it's helped out quite a bit. So now let's hear some raw audio from the GT3. Why not? Here we go. Yeehaw. The ability to identify an area on the market where you're not confident or you don't want to put on major risk is something that's very important, and you need to listen to yourself when that starts to happen, and you don't want to force it, okay? With that said, that's the trading talk that I wanted to get over today. It's also a great time to focus on different ventures maybe in your life, right? For me, I'm working on a coffee business. Someone that drinks espresso every morning. It's very connected to my day-to-day life. It's also sort of connected to my trading brand. And so that's something that's very exciting that I'm working on, and we'll share more with you guys soon, so stay updated for that. And we're also building the home that you guys know I've been doing, and that's a great time to enjoy that process, right? So trading is not it doesn't have to consume your life. And when it feels like it's not A+, don't let it consume you even more, right? When trading gets slow, or you aren't seeing opportunities that you like, and you are forcing things, you actually start getting sucked into the dark hole even deeper, because you are losing and you're getting more and more aggravated and you're getting sucked more and more in. Don't take that the wrong way. But it's very true, right? So when you're not having that great of a time and not having that great of a clarity, how about look other ways to distract yourself from that? Still watch the markets, still understand what's going on, but don't let your mentality go to shit trying to force something when you can enjoy all the different things in life, which are beautiful, right? And then come back to it once you see that opportunistic plays are coming back, once you see opportunity heading back into the markets, right? And that's sort of what I've been doing. Still trading, still doing good, not making $20,000, $30,000 a day because I'm just not comfortable putting that risk on, but I'm still doing a decent job and I'm making sure to show up. But I'm also focusing on things outside of the market, such as the coffee venture, such as building the home, such as family and friends, right? And the things that are enjoyable in life, right? Very important, guys. Don't let trading take you down this dark, dark hole. Do not let that happen, because that's when people quit. That's when you give up. You can always step back into trading the next week, right? It's always going to be there. That's the great thing about it. All right, guys, so we're here at the lot. Just had a really wholesome conversation with the neighbor. He came up and we were talking about everything, so introducing me to the area. It was pretty nice. But as you can see, the stem wall has been poured. The block is up for the stem wall. So the height that you see at the top of this block is actually the height of the floor. So the house is going to be pretty high up. I mean, this is probably about 4 feet high. The height of this will be the floor height, the finished floor. So everything inside of there has to get filled. That's the front. We'll walk over this way. You can see towards the back is where the office is going to be. But this is pretty much the update. I'm going to get some drone footage, pop it into the video, show you guys a visual from above. Should be done, I would say, in about the next year. We got about 1 year left. And then we'll be making videos and trading from the new office. Pretty exciting. Nothing like a good rip, man. So we're gonna head back to the house, go over some charts together, make this a wholesome video with some good education as well. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of my last few hours of my day. I will catch up with you guys back at the office. So guys, we are back at the office, and I wanted to go ahead and start with a review of my October trading. And to say the least, it was pretty lackluster. It was pretty slow. It was pretty boring, besides one trade. And you guys saw that trade on YouTube. I had a full video talking about it in the car as well, about the fixed risk or sort of dynamic risk. And that was the trade on Oklo. So I'll go here to that Monday, and you can see that this was the big trade of the month. It was that Oklo swing trade. I have it all recorded for you guys to go check out if you want. I'll go ahead and put the link right here on the top of the video. This was a $60,000 trade, and besides that, it was a very slow month. So one of those months, rolling with the punches, really didn't get any momentum since that point. You can see the next week was very slow. The week after that was pretty slow. And the final week of this month was not bad. Definitely picked up a little bit of volatility and a little bit of action, but it really was all about this day right here on Monday, October 6th, when I closed in Akko swing trade. You can see we had our normal 50-ish% win rate, which is very sort of resemblant of my trading, 50 to 55%, very similar. Profit factor was okay. Average win-loss was okay. And you can see the P&L curve. One of the good things here that I would take away from my October month was that I didn't give back a lot of money, right? I made the big trade on Akko, and then it just sort of stabilized, which, like I said in the video earlier, that is a win to just sort of realize when it's not A+ for you, maintain your capital preservation, rather than just going out and forcing things. That really was the summary of this entire month for me. So looking forward to another month, looking forward to find new opportunities. But this month was one good trade, and the rest was just sort of spinning my wheels as the market didn't provide those A+ opportunities for me. And that's just for me, right? That's at least for what I saw. And of course, there's other people out there that made probably more, or maybe made less, or found opportunities. But of course, I'm just here to share with you my performance. So that is my October. Now, the next thing I want to talk about in today's video is creating that NTZ and how that did help me quite a bit on the back half of October. So let's go ahead and jump into the charts. So we're here on the charts on the NASDAQ futures for the month of October. And I want to highlight to you basically what happened this month, where I had some trouble finding opportunities, and how when I look at the charts, I do relate and understand why I didn't have the best of opportunities. Because when we're looking at this NASDAQ futures, we can see pretty much the entire month was highlighted by a decent trend to start the month, which was basically right here. So not a bad uptrending market to start the month. Then it was sort of plagued by the tariff announcement with China that basically dropped the market straight to the downside. And then the following basically 2 weeks to a week was just trading inside of that entire range, right? So the NASDAQ futures had that high here at 25,388 from the tariff news. Then we had that low come in around 24,400. And basically for the next week and a half, we traded inside of that range the entire time. And so after a spark event like that, like we saw in the tariff announcement, it is sort of hard to build that confidence that you're not going to see something happen again. You're not going to see more news come out, more uncertainty come out. So I just couldn't find that confidence to put risk on. And I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, because there could have been very easily some kind of another news announcement that, hey, if I was too aggressive short here, and then Trump goes ahead and says, oh, no more tariffs anymore, we could go straight up. And if I was short, that would hurt. Or I could try to long these lows, and if there was another announcement that came out, we could go straight down, right? So that uncertainty was absolutely elevated, and it made it very difficult for me to put on real risk and real size. So you had a decent start to the month. You were plagued by that news there, which basically sent us sideways for multiple weeks. Then, on top of that, starting this week, the beginning of this week, we had this crazy gap up in the market, basically gap up in the market, which was then followed by 3 days of sideways consolidation. So when I look at this month, really the opportunity was to long these lows and hope for this gap up, right? And hey, maybe someone out there did that, and congratulations, but I just couldn't find that confidence. The only other spot that I could see an opportunity that I did potentially miss was the reclaim of the daily 20 right here, and the anticipation that we would go higher off of that. But at that point, I would be longing into that all-time high right here, and I just didn't feel comfortable putting a lot of risk here, longing into that all-time high, which ended up being a gap up and a breakout. So just as you can see this chart, when I look back at this and I review my month and I review what the markets did, I'm not that upset about the performance, and I do understand where that uncertainty came in. And like we talked about earlier in today's video, if you're uncertain, if you just aren't aligned, don't push it, right? It's very important. You can look at this and feel FOMO that you missed out on some of the action, but think realistically, think back to that moment. And when I think back to the moment when this was all real-time action and we were sort of every day going sideways after that big Trump announcement, I look back at that, I think back to that, and I know how I felt, and it was uncertain. And so it's good on me, in my opinion, that I didn't push it when I was in that sort of mindset. So now zooming out, I want to share with you the volume profile on the NASDAQ futures and why over the last few trading days, it has been a little bit difficult for me to build confidence once again. And the reason for that is because on this gap up, as you guys can see, we created a very low volume area on the NASDAQ futures between 25,853 to around that previous all-time high at 25,388, 400. We have this gap up area that created a pretty much valley in price action on the volume profile, and I have been patiently waiting for this to get filled. I believe that the best trading opportunity moving forward is a pullback to the daily 20, which it always is in my book, also the previous all-time highs, and if we get that drop, I would love to look to relong this market back at this level around 25,400. That is really the next A-plus opportunity that I am waiting on, and I'm trying to stay patient for that move. The reason I'm very confident that that will occur is because, number one, that is the retest of previous all-time highs. That is the breakout point, which you typically will see the retest of, and you also have that low volume below, which I believe the market will want to navigate through. So I am very patiently waiting for that move, and I am very cautious longing without that getting filled, because I don't want to be long here and see this market drop aggressively back to here and be long and be on the wrong side and take that loss. So I'm trying to be patient and waiting. Now you can see on my charts, I have this gray zone mapped out, and that for me right now is a no trade zone on the NASDAQ futures, which I have on the ES, on the SPY, and on the QQQ. So I have it across all four of them. But on the NASDAQ futures, you can see that that range is really the range of this last week. If we go to the weekly candle, you're going to see that the whole week of last week, between Monday and Friday, traded within this exact range, 25,853 to 26,309. So moving forward into next week, I simply want to see us break outside of last week's trading range. If we can get outside of that range to the downside, I would heavily anticipate a downside move through that low volume area, pulling back down to that daily 20, which I would absolutely look for a short side opportunity. That would be a elevated opportunity for me, something that is more interesting. If we stay within this channel again, I will not be interested in trading, and I will do more patience and more capital preservation. If we do find a very strong demand bounce off these lows and see a breakout above the highs again, then again, I will look to get somewhat aggressive, but also still understanding that this gap would still be unfilled. So clearly a lot of question marks in the market, but I'm just creating these zones on the market that I'm trying to stay away from, where I've seen choppy markets, choppy areas on the market, and I'm trying to highlight on the charts those A-plus opportunities that I will look to be a part of, so that on the intraday, when we're trading, if I see us starting to enter one of those opportunistic zones, I will look to get aggressive and find an opportunity. But if we stay in the gray, I stay away. That's pretty much the saying that I am starting to use. Over here on the QQQ, we can see it is very similar. You have that range right here with a lot of volume that has transacted from last week, and then you have this major valley in price down to around that 618.40, which is the Friday high, and even lower down into the previous all-time highs at 613. And I am just not comfortable seeing this low volume below and not anticipating that there could be some kind of pullback and better long back down at the daily 20 SMA. That is really what I'm waiting on. And we'll see if that opportunity does present itself. But for now, a little bit of patience, waiting for the markets to set up perfectly, I think is what is beneficial for me. So before you guys head out, I want to let you know about a 3-day live event that I will be hosting on YouTube for 100% free starting November 16th to 17th and the 18th. It'll be a Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, where on Sunday we will be live prepping for the markets, providing some education, getting prepared, and showing you how I get prepared for an upcoming week. And then we will use that education and execute trades live on Monday and Tuesday together, live market commentary, answering all of your questions live in the live stream for you guys to come and hang out, 100% free. All you have to do is register below. You can go to the link down below to learn more about it. This is the webpage that I'm showing you here. You click here to go ahead and register for the event. You will see the things that we will be doing for those 3 days. And of course, for those of you that do show up, we will have some awesome giveaways, including some insiders merch, a special gift that I am not going to announce quite yet. And also, as you guys know, we do this every year, a very, very special Black Friday special. So all you have to do is go to the link down in the description and register, and I will see you guys there.